Hello all and welcome to Sunday Q&A, recorded on Friday at Tilbury Services on my half-hour break. Just ran 5 pallets down. Easy day today. I knocked myself out yesterday. It was like 15, well, no, it wasn't 15 hours, what I'm talking about. It was, I had a puncture. I just drove myself mental. Started at 3 o'clock in the morning, finished about 5 o'clock at night. Just about, yeah. Long one. So I just had an easy one today, picked up in Milton Keynes, ran it down to Canterbury, and I'm coming back empty. But I've got decent money for the job, so I'm happy. Right, so what we got? Introduction. Firstly, Jason Burke. Yay! Well done, my friend. He's got himself a job delivering medical supplies, I think. Bless him. The world seems to be throwing all kinds of stuff at him, but I think he finally might be on the up, mate. I really hope you are. I want to hear a success story from you. You certainly deserve it. And also, Danny Boy is in the lorry now. Please read. Is that an Arctic, Danny? Sounds like an Arctic. It's a Volvo, FH460. He's asking people to name it. Mate, I can't name your truck. You have to name your truck. Should be a girl's name. Sometimes it's a boy's name. It should be a girl's name because they're girls, aren't they? And it's something you have to work it out yourself. The first one, Penny, came to me. Alice came to me. Jessica, my wife Lisa named, never quite worked. No, you've got to find it yourself. You drive it, you get out, you go. Feels like a Bertha? No. Feels like a Shirley? No. Susan? Yes, that's Susan. You know, that's why it works. Right, what we got this week? I did one on transport managers. Like I say, the way Daniel is super duper lovely. I'm trying to do as much of it as I possibly can myself to take the pressure off him. And also, if you just want to run kosher and you plan it correctly, all your transport managers should really need to do is to look at your statistics, look at your and go, yep, everything's fine. And that's what I want. Because he turned around and he said, if you get the ministry in here right now, look at you, he said, you'll get an instant green light. And that's what I want. I don't want to be stopped. I don't want the aggravation. I just want green lights all the way. So that's what we're working on. First in, again, consider he seems to be first in a lot. He said, you've done well there. He said, his transport manager is £300 a month. The thing is, like I say, Daniel's a mate. And I've spoken to him about it. And he said, Peter, I'm not in it for the money. He said, I'm in it for the experience. I think through me, someone else is signing up with him who's based at my yard. And also my mate Martin, who wants to go into removals, who's also going to be based at my yard. And bear in mind, he's going to be running a removal truck. He's going to be doing absolutely no miles. So he can't be anything but kosher. You know, very unlikely he's going to get infringement. So, but again, he's doing me a favour. And if I can do him a favour in return, of course, I always will. We work, you know, strangely enough, I kind of believe that if you help people, it will come back on you. And this is one example of one way that it has. I do these videos as a result of which I got in contact with Daniel. Now I've got a very good, very inexpensive transport manager. So, karma, it's a long game. Sean Blackburn says, your overheads are huge. He says, you've got a transport manager, truck maintenance, staff wages, forgot parking, don't forget parking. He says, I don't know how you sleep at night. Basically, the overheads are huge, but the amount of money you make on the jobs is double. So it has to be double. I mean, we had a couple I was quoting on this morning, and they were going for loot and money, and I just went, can't do it. You know, but you will get the people out there that understand, and they'll pay you the right money. And like I said, and I'll go all the way through with, I like trucks. I just like one day. I like trucks. I like being higher up. I like having space in my cab. I like having a bed. When I got my puncture, I put my bed down for an hour, for like 3/4 of an hour, because I was too early for anyone to be open, and had a little doze. It's lovely. I'd like a proper bed. If I ever get my class 2, I'll get one. It's not for everybody, and it is a project. I like them, but they're a project. You know, we've got 2 people in the office. We've got stuff going on here. It's not, if you just want to be an owner driver, I still say gluten, tail lift, curtain side, because this is kind of, this is for people that want to get involved. But I want to get involved. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting journey so far. I'm going to carry on with it. Right, on the subject of trucks, we did one on the Tachograph app. Ray Taylor says, yawn. Mate, this is my life now. wasn't fully prepared for what was involved when I started, but it is. You can drive for up to 4.5 hours. Then you must have at least a 45-minute break. But you can split that break. We'll get into it. I'm on my I've got a 30-minute break now, but I'm I'm using it. I'm having a rest at the same time talking to you guys. But I will do one on it just to let you know. I keep saying trucks are a project to let you guys know if you decide to swap from a van to a lorry, what you're actually letting yourself in for. It's not that difficult. People, I mean, like, we'll go on this. In fact, Matthew Smith says, oh yeah, thank you for clearing something up. I wasn't sure about the daily rest. He says your usual daily rest is 11 hours, but can be reduced to 9 hours 3 times a week. I wasn't sure if it's 3 times a week or 3 times a fortnight. Apparently it's 3 times a week. I'll check that, but apparently it is. He also says all the info, because I did this one on the Tachograph app that I use. He said all this information is available on the Taco Head. Well, it kind of is and kind of isn't. If I flick my Taco Head down now, it will tell me how long I've been driving for, how long I've been resting for, how long I've been on a break for. But I mean, there might be other stuff on there, but it won't tell me how many weekly rests I've had, how many reduced weekly rests I've had, when I need to download the driver's card. It's really handy, that thing. Don't get me wrong, you can get the free version and you'll be fine with the free version. It's just having all the information on one screen in front of you. It tells me when I've got to download the driver's cards, how long I've been driving for, how long I've been continuously driving for, how much rest I've had. It's all there in front of you. It's like I say, it's either free or £20 for life. It's not. I've spent more money on things that I've used less. Derek McDonald says, he says, well done, Pete. It's a hard subject to cover. I've been driving for up to 7 years and it still confuses me. It's not the problem is a lot of it's counterintuitive. If it was all like regimented, so it's like 2 times a week you can reduce your daily rest. 2 times a week you can drive for more than 9 hours. 2 times a week you can extend your break. But it's not. It's all over the shop. But like I say, I will do one on this one just to let you know the crazy world of truck driving stuff. And Out of Hassan says, this is no wonder so many people are breaking the law. It's so hard to understand. He's concerned that I don't understand it. No, I do, but it's a bit like, a lot of it is a bit like, it's a bit like trying to, rub your stomach while pat your head. You can do it, but it takes a bit of, did I do that? It kind of, after a while, I spoke to Daniel about this, and I said, how do you do it? He said, mate, I've been driving for like 20 years. He said, after a while, you just know. It just comes. Anyway, thoughts, as always. What else do we do? Oh, yeah, this one I think is quite close to everyone's heart, this one. This is the problems of quoting on a job when you don't have all the right information. Sam, is it Sam Hart? I've scribbled your second name there, sorry Sam. He says, I've already fallen foul of this one. He's of the belief that there should be some mandatory tick boxes when posting the job. So you post a job and down the side it will say distribution centre or airport or Amazon or hospital or zone, ULEZ. Tell you what there does need to be, guys, if you're listening out there on a CX, with the coming in of the LEZ being extended, particularly for the haulage exchange, we need to see it for jobs in the LEZ as well as into the ULEZ, because all my motors are Euro 5, and I'm unlikely to change them before March, so that would be dead handy. But yeah, a little bit more information would be handy. Danny Boy says, as long as it fits, I'll be happy. You say that, mate. You wait till you pack that Arctic onto a bay and you're sitting there for 3 hours, you won't be happy anymore, trust me. It does get a bit like, guys, come on now. What are you playing at, Van on the Run, first in again for this one. He was, again, it says you have to use these right. I mean, this is what's been reiterated. You have to get into quote quick to win it, but he says you're just not sure of what you're getting. And he said a lot of the time maybe the shipper's not sure. I think you're right. I think that people will ring us up and they'll go, well, I need a van. And you go, yeah, okay, well, what we transporting, what kind of van, what size van? Oh, I don't know really. Just get it with the removals. Oh, it will fit in a Luton. Will it? Well, the contents of a house? It won't. Trust me, houses are really big, vans are really small, and well, in comparison to houses. And if you try and pack everything in a one room, you'd struggle. So if you can't pack it in a one room, you can't pack it in a one van. So, but yeah, there should be. It would be nice, but I think we'd all like a little bit more info, shippers included. And he said, and yeah, he goes on to say van on the run. He says it's often the wrong van selected, and that works both ways. You know, he said he's seen it. Short wheelbase is needed, and then you look at the load, and it's 1.8 metres tall or 2 metres tall. Yeah, well, short wheelbase. I've had it before. We've had sort of 7.5 ton, 18 ton. Load is 2.3 metres high, 2.8 metres high. It's like there's no 18 ton or 7.5 ton in the world that I know that will take a 2.8 metres. You need an Arctic for that. Now you might not want an Arctic because it's really light, and it's sort of, and you don't want to pay Arctic money, but it's big. Unfortunately, if it's big, you need a big vehicle to move it, unless you can lay it down. Right, on to the miscellaneous. Van on a run. First thing again. He says because he was thinking about a truck thing, he said I'll probably stick with a Luton. Like I say, unless you're thinking of getting more than one, I wouldn't really advise jumping into a 7.5. But if you can run in 2 or 3, well, watch your space. I'll let you know how it goes. Lee Allen, he's done his theory test. He's done the same as me. Back on the 40th, he said something. Hang on a second. Yeah, basically, I think he's also waiting to do his class 2. So, well, I'll race you. He also says, from the recovery point of view, crouch recovery and RS recovery are 2 of the best out there. What I did when I blew my tyre, I basically Googled. I Googled commercial truck tyres from in the area, and then got a number and then rung them. And the guy says, "Have you got an account with us?" And I said, "No, but I can pay you all the money up front on, you know, with a card right now. I've got my card on me, my bank card." So no one turns around and says no to money. And I guess it's the same from recovery. I don't know if there was some kind of insurance, some kind of like AA thing where you could pay yearly and every time you broke down you get recovered. I don't know of one. If you do, well, in fairness, when it comes down to lorry, again, something else to bear in mind if you're thinking of jumping from van to lorry. The AA does not turn up, as far as I know, stick your van on the back of a motor, drive you home, and then you don't have to pay anything. As far as I know, when it gets into the bigger motors, it starts to cost. He also says always carries with him passport and driver's license, as well as his CPC, and of course a digicard, but the digicard is in the tacho. Yes, you could eject it, probably not a good idea. I normally carry my passport and my driver's license. At the moment my passport's at home, but I have got my driver's license and my CPC card. That's kind of 2 forms of ID. I don't know if that's going to be enough or not. One day I might come unstuck. But Godzilla's, he's doing the ADR. You know, here's a certificate that lets you carry a bomb as a credit towards his CPC. Not sure. Now, yeah, this is true. You can do this. We do this thing called certificate of private. What's CPC? Certificate of Professional Competence. And as drivers, we have to do that. We have to do basically 5 courses a year. Or you have to do, I think it's, I can't remember off the top of my head, either 35, 45 hours, something like that. But you don't have to do the same course each time. They do different ones now. They do one on using vehicles as a weapon, since the Paris thing. They do one on the Corona now. They also, the best ones on driving hours is always a handy one to do, because you never get that one enough. And also the one on securing loads is a good one to do. But if you've got to do it, you may as well do something different. Get your ADR training. You may as well get it. I don't know how easy it is because of the lockdown, because I think some of it is practical. You may as well get qualified as an ADR driver, even if you don't even carry ADR. It's always there, isn't it? So there we go. Right. Oh, he's also having a nightmare with the O licence. I did one on pitfalls of getting the O licence because the money's in his wife's account. He says, so now, he said, what's happening is he's having to write off to say, look, it's my money, but it's in my wife's account. And then he's got, so I wouldn't worry too much, he said, because I'm running out of time. I think with the lockdown and everything like that, they should, or they probably may or may not, give you some extra time and go, look, I made a mistake, but I can't ring anybody, I can't talk to anybody, I'm doing my best here, hopefully it shouldn't be an issue, but I'm sure you'll get there in the end. RPAD, he says, re-airports, you don't need security because you're escorted. I don't know how that works either, because I just drive in, they say go on that bay over there, but I think it might have something. He does also flag something up. It might be something to do with there's like sort of airside and not airside, or that kind of thing. I wonder if you go the other side, it gets a bit, I don't know, but I've been fine. John Fennell says thanks for shout out. He's our man in Ireland. Pleased to see you doing well, John. Good, you know, keep on trucking, mate. Anybody needs anything taken back to Ireland, I'm our guy. Danny boy, he says he had a nightmare the other day. He had to put a load in the front because the back was full. I hope that was in that Arctic, mate. Yeah, technically speaking, they don't like it if you put stuff in the front. That can potentially void your insurance. What you want to do from the point of view of traffic officers, make sure it doesn't obscure the wing mirror. So if you have to stick it in the front, stick it in the driver's seat well. If you've got a load of gear up here and you can't see the wing mirror, it's not going to go down well. Steve Campbell, he's delivering from pubs in his area. He said every pub but the local pub. That's good. Have you upset? £5 a delivery. This is not tons, but it's making, keep the wall from the door and getting getting in there. So hopefully something good will come of that, Steve. Jim Bob. Jim Bob, yeah, he said he wants to be a courier driver. Jim Bob, I think he said himself. He said, I've got a few mental issues, but I'm overcoming it. I hope you do, my friend. I really do. He dearly wants to be a courier driver. He says, I've got a car licence, but that was 5 years ago. He says he's got issues. He's much better now. As far as I understand it, I mean, it depends when you passed your car licence, because if you passed it before a certain time, you're kind of allowed to drive a van on granddad rights. I've got granddad rights, which entitle me to. I didn't have to take a test to drive a 7.5 tonne. I had to do my CPC training, but I didn't have to take a driving test. I don't know how it works now, but you should be able to drive a van up to a certain weight. I need you guys out there to help Jim Bobby. You let me know. What's the biggest vehicle you can drive now? Say you pass your test tomorrow on a normal driving licence. I don't know. Is it 2.5? Do you need the test to do a 3.5? You do an LGV test? I don't know. But you certainly, I imagine you could start in like a small van, and that could be the way forward for you. It is for some people. They like the small van thing. But Jim, I'll have to come back to you on that one, mate, if that's okay. When you guys let me know, I'll pass it on to the boy. Right, Ashley Williams. How much is it to start on the CX? Ashley, I've done you a video. I don't know if it's going out. It'll be coming out soon, because I kind of, just to give you, I think I've done it before, but to give you an update of, how much money you should have. It kind of is. It's not an exact science, but I'll try and, it's going out soon. Little ballpark figure for you, mate. Lee Westcott. Am I a sole trader? I am at the moment. We kind of want to go limited but there's no massive advantage in going limited now, because as directors, me and Al have to sign liabilities. So it's not like before, whereas everything went crazy. You can just turn it back and say sorry. It's not so straightforward, but it is something. It's on our list of things to do. But there are many things on our list to do. So I'll let you know when it happens. I'll probably give you a rundown. Farbad. Am I on Facebook? Right, no, I'm not on. Me and social media, other than the YouTube thing, not really. Having said that, we now have Instagram. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, if you type in vangotransport@outlook.com, that's our email address. Or if you type in Pete the Courier Driver, it's just pictures of the stuff we pick up and drop off, really. But if you can, do me a favour, if you can follow it, it kind of helps, I think. I don't know why. I don't understand these things. But apparently the more followers you got, the better. So do us a favour, guys, if you can. Would be nice. Thank you. Sonny Gilter. How can I practice my CPC? Sonny, I've got some good news for you. You don't have to. As far as the CPC is concerned, it's not a test. It's an education. You just have to turn up. You just have to turn up, sit there, listen, stay awake. That's it. And at the end of it, they'll go, well done. So it's just like going to classroom. It's like going to school for 5 days. But you don't actually have to do an exam at the end of it. That's kind of your lot, mate. So don't panic on that score. Dolly Dalton. Oh yeah, we did one a little while ago on what happens if a small box becomes 2 pallets. Dolly, now this is interesting. Let's have some takes on this, guys. He says, we don't move until the shipper, if it turns out that you've got a small, it turns up with 2 pallets, I ring the shipper and I go, right, we're on site. We've got the 2 pallets on board. The van is ready to go. So if you can just change the price on the job now, I can authorise the van to go. The difficulty I've kind of got with that, so the price is not agreed, or what it does is gets on site. Actually, no, I think it's before it even gets loaded. Gets on site and goes, right, my van's on site. You said it was a small box. It's 2 pallets. So he's ready to load. All you do is you have to change the price to the 2 pallets price. And as soon as you've done it, I'll authorise the load. So, I mean, the only thing I've got with that is they take half an hour or 3/4 of an hour to change the price. You're sitting there for an extra 3/4 of an hour. Then you've got to fight for waiting time. You know, it gets complicated. But I want to hear everybody else's take on that. He does make the point. He says you've got very little advantage if you're loaded and ready to go, and he's right. Once you've got the goods on board, what else are you going to do? Take them home and stick them in your garage, start charging them for storage. Can't, can you? You've got to get it on, get it off, and then let you go. So, right. Yeah, take on that, guys. Let's have some feedback, please. Lee Westcott likes the idea of hand drivers doing a week in the office and vice versa. Oh, by the way, he also says, he said the woodwork in the house is impressive. Yeah, I'm not in the house at the moment. I'm in the, I'm at Tilbury Services. Thank you very much, my friend. I'm very, very lucky to have that place, and I fought tooth and nail to get it. Just to let you know, the house is 200 years old, but the beams in the house are 400 years old, and they come from reclaimed ships. So I guess I was always destined to be in shipping. But yeah, I know. I'm lucky. Thanks very much for noticing. Cheers, mate. Also unloading. He says, unload. All right, BTH Transport unloading. He says him and another guy spent probably an hour handballing 40 to 50 boxes off, and at the other end done the same thing again. And the shipper turns around and says, "I'll give you £10 as a goodwill gesture." £10. I've done another. It's like 2 hours extra work. £10. Like I say, if only the shippers could spend a week doing what we do, and I guess if we spend a week doing what they do, maybe. It's never going to happen. He said, but they did pay within 4 days of invoice, so it's not too painful. Lee again says, is it worth getting a forklift licence? Is it worth getting a forklift licence? You're never not going to use it. The only problem that you've got, as I've had before, is if you turn up to a place and you go, look, I know the drivers are all on break. It's all right. I've got a forklift licence. I can do it. They'll go, yeah, but you're not insured. I suppose if you had the fork truck licence, there might be an example. If you had a fork truck licence, if you had your card on you and the forklift is sitting there and there's no drivers, you could go, look, I've got a licence. Here's my card. I can do it. They might say yes. I reckon you've got about a 1 in 10 chance. I've also had it before where I've turned up and the woman said, can you drive a forklift? And I went, yes. She said, lovely, because the guy's not entering an hour. If you want to do it yourself, you can. I said, thank you very much. I haven't got a forklift licence. I can drive a forklift, but I ain't got a licence. So it's not that difficult, really. This goes backwards, this goes side to side, steers, backwards and forwards, up and down, left and right, tilt. It's not that tricky. Once you get even the extenders, you can do them. Then big JCB things. If I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy one of those and put it in my garden. Just drive it round and round and round in circles. I love them. But it's like, it's like international rescue, isn't it? There we go. Right, I've gone off on one again. Hanif says, how do companies sell jobs on the CX? And how do they get them? Is there a way to buy the jobs? Or end users, is it just marketing? Mate, it's just marketing. End users are the holy grail. They're what we all want. They're an easy life. Know where you're going to. Turning up every day. Have a mug. Have a cup of tea. Charge them proper money because you don't have to pay the cut. Basically, you're paying a finder's fee for people finding new jobs. That's what the CX kind of is like, But yeah, it is a long road. But I've done a video before, I won't repeat myself, on how to get end users. But that's what we all want, mate. That's what we're all hankering after. Steve says, Pure Gym membership is 24 hours. If you go early in a 7.5 tonne, so parking is easy. And he also says most service stations have showers. Yeah, I've seen a few of them, the showers. Depends on the service station. I think after a while you start to clock what's a tidy service station, which one is not a tidy service station. So you might aim for that one to use the showers. As for the Pure Gym thing, it's going early might defeat the object, unless of course you've been parked up overnight and you're up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. You think, well, I'm going to crack on first, go and get myself washed up, and away you go. But yeah, the truth is out there. I still don't know what it is. Kenneth Boteg says, how do you source jobs as an owner driver? Join the CX. That's what I did. Got to start somewhere. Join the CX. That's where they order. Well, that's not where they order. That's where a lot of them are. So, and Jim Bob has also asked me, said, do I drive an HGV and a Luton? And do I have a class 1 that allows me to drive anything between 3.5 and 7.5 tonnes? Right, Jim. I don't drive a Luton anymore. As soon as I got into the truck, I sold the Luton. I used the money from the Luton to half pay for the truck. No, used money from the Luton to pay for the truck. because by the time I sold it, it was worth as much as I paid for Alice here. And I have on my licence, because I passed my test in 1988, Grandad rights, which entitle me to drive C1 and C1E, which is anything up to 7.5 tonnes, or I think it's anything up to 10 tonne or 12 tonne if it's towing a trailer. Not that I think I'll be competent to tow a trailer, but soon I'm going to go for my C, I think, which is any rigid lorry you can drive, I believe. Okay, Charles Winkst. What are your thoughts on a long wheelbase transit, been made redundant, thinking of starting a self-employed courier driver? Got to start somewhere, mate. Just buy a van. I've done you a video, but I've done a video before as well on vans. This is trying to specify what different advantages there are vans on the Courier Exchange. Long and the short of it is, you want to start, hold your nose and jump. Buy a van, any van. You can always change it. Lee Curtis. Yeah, how much are people paying for live maps? He's paying £130 a month. He said, I don't think you and Big B are paying that. I can't tell you what we pay, because I'm now on the haulage exchange and I've got a different subscription because I've got like extra apps for running trucks. But guys, if you want to tell James what the going rate is out there on the CX at the moment, gladly pass it on, as always. Posh Boy, he did this was one on Nightmare Jobs, did a local 20-mile job, 30 quid. The pallet was too high and the fork truck driver hang on a second, I've done this before. So he had to handball the extras, and basically had to handball the extras on both sides, got an extra £5. It comes back again to that thing. We'll talk about that, I think, with a bit more information. Should you move until the job has been changed? Or should you, because that's the other one, you can get on site. You're coming back to the Dolly Dalton, you can get on site and go, look, this job is not the job I've been booked for. And if they go, well, I say, no, what I recommend I do then is I leave and you send another van in. I don't think they'd be happy. I need some thoughts, I need some feedback on this one, guys. If it was me, I'd probably just do what I normally do, get it on, just get it off, wipe my mouth, walk away. No better next time, but we'll see. Ian Merrick with 2 eyes. He said, the heads up, there's a guy, oh that's right, that's why I've done this here. There's a guy, he was at a delivery centre. He said, be careful handing out your driving licence number, because it can be used for fraud. I don't know about that. Again, guys, any experience of people having their driving licence number being used and all that kind of stuff? But thanks again for the heads up, Ian, anyway. And Addy the Slim Shady says, Addy the real Slim Shady says, how does it work with hire and reward insurance if you're renting a van? Don't know. I imagine normally if you rent a van, you work on their insurance, which tends to be for private use. So I don't know if you'd have to say, I'm going to use this as a courier driver. I don't know how you'd stand. But right, so to the conclusion, Tivioso Cornwall says, will we ever see your wife on the videos? Probably not, because I normally make them when she's asleep. Because I tend to go to bed early and wake up early, and she tends to go to bed late and wake up late. She does work, but she doesn't get up at 3 o'clock in the morning like I do sometimes. And also, at the moment, I'm in a truck stop. So maybe one day, who knows? If not, at least you get to see the cats. And Daniel Karumba says, getting a Renault truck. He says 95%, but he spoke to an AA guy once, and he said 95% of the recoveries that Renaults do, the AA do, so they must recover trucks, they probably charge you for it, are Renaults. He said, a lot of them have got Volvo parts and Volvo engines, but it's the electrics that go. And when the electrics that go, you've gone. He said, leave the French to what they do best, champagne and strikes. These are not my words, these are the words of Daniel. Or as I've written down here, ce ne sont pas mots, c'est sorti de Daniel. So, if you are French, please don't take it personally. I'll probably just buy a DAF. I like DAFs. I say there's a lot more out there than the money goes. Anyhow, as I've been talking to you, my 30 minutes have rolled over, so I'm going home. And in the meantime, you know what to do. Take care. Take money.